that last example kind of leads us to thinking, okay, how can we use this to simplify radicals with numbers? So if we have an nth root radical is simplified if the radicand, which is the number underneath, has no factors that are perfect nth powers. Now, there's a couple methods, all right? Now, if you go YouTube in it, you'll see all different methods, all right? And in some example videos, even in this course, you'll see different methods, especially if they're videos by other people, all right? But let me show you the simplest method for numbers like the square root of 18 is this. First thing we want to do is we want to factor the radicand to include one perfect power. In other words, this is a square root. So n is 2. It's a square root. So we want to take this square root of 18 and we want to break it up. We want to say, all right, we want to say, what are the perfect squares? Remember the perfect squares? Perfect squares are 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. So on and so forth. Those are the perfect squares. And we ask ourselves, these are all numbers, first of all, that can be square rooted. I know the square root of 16, it's 4. I know the square root of 25, it's 5. Do any of these multiply into this? Are they factors of 18? Can you multiply 4 into 18? No, 4 times 4 is 16, but not 18. Can you multiply 9 by something to get 18? Yes, you can. It is 2. All right, so we can break up the 18 into two numbers. One is a perfect square, and the other is not. So we choose 9 times 2. This is a true statement, 9 times 2. Now we're using this rule. Let's look back at this rule. This rule here says I got a square root now with two things multiplied, and so we can go backwards. Whoops. We've been going forwards, but now we're going to go backwards, and we're going to break that up into two square roots. So that's our second step. Okay, we're going to use the product rule, the radical product rule, to take the nth power of each factor. Okay, meaning this, we're going to break it into two square roots. That's what the radical product rule says. We can pull that apart or put it together. Now, do you know the square root of 9? Yes, you do. I hope you do. I do. It's 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, right? Do you know the square root of 2? Oh, man, that's a weird decimal. If you plug in your calculator, it'll be like 1.414, and it goes on forever. So we don't know exactly what it is, so we're going to leave it as the square root of 2. So we have 3 times the square root of 2. We can simplify part of it, but not the other part. We leave it alone. Okay? Now, we don't usually write this little times in there, and so I'm going to erase that little times here. And so we'll write it like this, and we read this as 3 square root of 2. What it means is 3 times the square root of 2. All right, that's one method. Another method goes like this. And this is similar to what you might see on some other videos, but this first method is so quick and easy, you want to get used to that, especially for small numbers. When you have big numbers, then you might find it useful to do this. So if we have the square root of 18, first thing we want to do is do the prime factorization. What is that? Well, the prime factorization means we're going to take 18 and break it down into as small numbers as we can. 18, for example, is, let's say, 3 times 6, or you could start with 2 times 9. Doesn't matter. Okay, and 3 is a prime number, so I'll circle that. 6 can be broken down into 2 times 3. Those are prime numbers, meaning prime numbers means we can't break them down. We could break this into 1 times 2, but that doesn't help us. All right, we don't want ones. So the square root of 18 is can be written as the square root of 2 times 3 times 3. Or better yet, it's 2 times 3 squared. All right, so now we have 2 times 3 squared. We can break that up into 2 square roots, square root of 3 squared and the square root of 2. Now, the reason why that helps us is, see right here, see how it's written as a power, kind of like we did with exponents in the last lesson? Okay, so first thing we did was we broke it up, and we wrote it in prime factorization. Now we're going to break into two radicals, one that can be simplified. And we simplify the one, and we leave the leftovers under the other radical. So we're going to have this idea of 3 squared is 3, and the square root of 2 is kind of leftovers. We leave it alone, okay? Because the squared and the square root cancel each other out is kind of what happened there. All right, so that's one way. That works good for big numbers, because if you have a whole bunch of factors under here, everything that can be squared is going to come out. Everything that is not a square, that will be left alone. All right. So let's look at a couple examples and see how we can use this. And we're going to use this method 1 mostly, because we'll have smaller numbers most of the time. So let's simplify some square roots using that method 1. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to break it up. We're going to look for a perfect square that goes into this. Now remember, our perfect squares are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, so on and so forth. Now, we don't care much about 1. We're going to start with these ones. Do any of these multiply into 50? Well, one of them does, right? 25 does. So we can break this into 25 times 2. And the radical product rule says we can go ahead and break that into 2 square roots. Do we know the square root of 25? We sure do. That's 5. Do we know the square root of 2? Nope, so we'll leave that as a square root of 2. So 5 square root of 2 is the simplified version of the square root of 50. Now let's look at the calculator here just to understand this. So what does this mean? Well, the square root of 50 is a number. Square root of 50, it's about 7.07. Okay? It's an irrational number. That's called an irrational number. Well, we said that's the same as 5 times the square root of 2. So if we go 5 times the square root of 2, we get the same number. And by the way, you don't actually need that square root of 2. Okay? This is a scientific calculator, by the way. This is Desmos.com scientific. So the moral of the story is this: 5 times the square root of 2 is worth the same amount as the square root of 50. But this is approximate. Notice it stops here. It actually goes on forever, and it never ends, it never repeats. This is an approximate number, 7.07106, so on and so forth. Exact, the square root of 50 is an exact number. 5 square root of 2 is an exact number. All right, we want to find exact values, but we want to write them in simplest form. 5 square root of 2 is, we've square rooted part of it, but not the other part. So simplifying just means we're finding another way to write it in a little simpler form. Okay, square root of 80. What can we multiply into the square root of 80? Well, 4 can go into the square root of 80. Oh, let's try that. That's probably the first one we jump onto there. Okay, so we can write this as 4 times 20. That's nice. So we can break that up into square root of 4 times the square root of 20. And we know the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. And we don't know the square root of 20. I know the square root of 16 and 25, but not the square root of 20. Now, there it looks like we simplified it, but here's the thing. We didn't simplify it far enough. Now, we got 2 ways to go. We can either go back to the drawing board and start over and look for a bigger square root, which would be the best way to go, or we can take the long way. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take the long way first, and then I'll go back and show you what we probably should have done the first time. Now, we're going to keep this, so we have 2, but we're going to break up the square root of 20. The square root of 20 has another 4 in it, right? 4 goes in there again. So we can break this into 4, and I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and just break this into 2 square roots here. So we have the square root of 4 times the square root of 5, and this is all multiplied here. And so this is just 2 times 2. 2 times 2 times the square root of 5, which is 4 square root of 5. That's our final answer, 4 square root of 5. Now, we did it in 2 steps, and we'd rather not do it in 2 steps, but it happens sometimes. So if you do it once, you need to do it again, go right ahead. It's not that big a deal, but we have a better way of doing it. So let's back up. Let's go back to the drawing board and say, is there a perfect square that goes into 80? 4 does, but keep going. Does 9? No. Does 16? Yes. All right, so if you check on a calculator or work through it, this is 16 times 5. Okay. Now, one way you can also notice that is once you notice that it's 4 times 20, if you go the 4 times 20 route and you say, hey, wait a minute, there's another 4 hiding in 20, that's because 4 times 4 is 16. We should have chosen 16. See that? So that's your clue that 16 is the number you want to go with, the largest perfect square. So we're going to break this into 16 times the square root of 5, okay? And that's going to be 4 times the square root of 5, and we are done. All right? How about cube roots? Well, this also works for cube roots. Now, cube roots, we don't want to think about these. We now want to think about perfect cubes. What perfect cubes go into this? Well, perfect cubes are numbers like 1 to the third power is 1. 2 to the third power is 8. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Okay? And we ask ourselves, do any of these multiply into 32? Well, 8 does. And the more you practice with this, the more you'll be familiar with it. That will come up a whole lot. The cube root of 8 is a number that we can do. And what do we multiply 8 by to get 32? Well, it's 8 times 4. Okay, notice, by the way, I skipped this step. You can kind of skip this step once you get going. We're taking this and we're breaking it into 2 square roots, or cube roots in this case. A cube root we can do and a cube root we cannot do. I know the cube root of 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. We don't know the cube root of 4. So we write this as 2 times the cube root of 4. Okay? Now we got fifth roots. Oh boy. Well, once we get large exponents and a little more involved expression under here, you may want to use the second method that we talked about a few minutes ago. The second method is the prime factorization. And to do that, let's go ahead and just start breaking this up. This is 2 times 16. 16 is 2 times 8. 8 is 2 times 4. And 4 is 2 times 2. Now we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Notice that's 5 2's. So we can rewrite this as 32 is 2 to the 5th, x, y to the 5th. Okay, just copy that last part down. Now, how do we simplify this? Well, now we're going to kind of go back to something that we started doing in the last lesson there, is we're going to break this up into 2 to the 5th, and let's take the y to the 5th. And we still have the x. It needs to be under its own square root. The x, the 5th root of x, we can't do anything with because there's no exponent here. This cannot be simplified, but these can. All right, so these can, and so technically, now here's a step you can probably skip, but I'll write it out. What we're really doing is that 5, that could be rewritten like that. Okay? And so what happens is this 5th root is going to cancel that. Again, probably could have skipped this step. This 5 is just going to cancel out both those 5s, both of them, because of what we just wrote. So this is going to be 2y. Okay? Now, what you'll see if you watch the other example videos from other people there, it's just if we have 5 2's, one of them comes out. If we have 5 y's, one of them comes out. Well, the reason is because there's an inverse operation, and that's important to understand. All right, so that's how you use that radical product rule to simplify when we have numbers and when we have numbers and variables.